right, let's go over the NFL market now. The explosion of the market with the wide receivers. Shout out to Phil Yates with this detailed report. Wide receiver deals this offseason included Davante Adams, 5-year, $142 million. Tyreek Hill, 4-year, $120 million. A.J. Brown, a 4-year, $100 million. Stefon Diggs, 4-year, $96 million. Cooper Kupp, a 3-year, $80.1 million. Now, here's the thing with Cooper Kupp. We all know that was an extension, but man, that's still a crazy number for him. Terry McLaurin, a 3-year, $71 million. I believe that APY is right at $22 million. That's a lot of coins. It's a lot of coins. Is he still Terry McLaurin or he's Scary Terry? Is he still Scary Terry? Y'all let me know. And then DJ Moore, 3-year deal, $61.88 million. I didn't even know DJ Moore got paid this offseason. Mike Williams and Chris Godwin, 3-year deal, $60 million. Now, when we look at everything and contextualize it to the wide receivers for the Dallas Cowboys, the deal with Amari Cooper, man, that's dog food now, right? That was a real good deal. Now, granted, they looked back at everything and they decided not to pay Amari Cooper, right? There's water under a bridge. He's now in Cleveland somewhere, and we wish him well until we play him. Now, granted, the Cowboys saved $20 million. So what did the Cowboys do with that $20 million? Nothing. They didn't do a thing with that $20 million, right? Nevertheless, not to beat a dead horse up, the Dallas Cowboys got CeeDee Lamb in the future. I'm quite sure that he's looking at anything north of $22 million APY. That's just how the market, and then the market increase every year. I digress. Nevertheless, the Cowboys sitting on $22.4 million in available cap space. You can look at it in two ways. The Cowboys could be saying to themselves that they want to send that money over to the next year and save it for a rainy day. So when it's time to pay CeeDee Lamb, that they can look back at it and say, you know what, we got the money now, baby. Or it could be like, okay, the money for the future could be for Trayvon Diggs because Denzel Ward got paid 21 APY, I believe, somewhere around that number there. And I'm quite sure that Trayvon Diggs is looking around saying, shoot, I want north of what Denzel Ward got, right? So that's a situation and a half. When you think about the money will always be in the way. Let me repeat this. When you think about the money will always be in the way. You got to figure out a way to look at the money and say, okay, cool. I'm going to use every crumb that I got and squeeze everything that I got out of this particular salary cap so that I can win. You got the money. You got to look at it like that because you got to understand that every year the salary cap increased. Last year, granted, it didn't increase by a lot, but it still increased. When you sit back and you say to yourself, man, I got to worry about the cap, Don't you guys know that all of the teams that made big moves this season, the Cowboys had more money than those said teams? Now, I'm not saying that just because they made big moves like the Bills, like the LA Rams, or even the Eagles, dare I say, not saying that those guys would be granted or guaranteed another Super Bowl or something like that. But what I'm trying to say is that if you're not willing, then you're not dealing, basically. And the Cowboys got to get out of that mentality of being scared to spend. I get it. What happened in the past hurt. It did. The Joey Galloway deal, it hurt. The Roy Williams, the wide receiver Roy, it hurt, right? Oh, the Brandon used car, right? No, he wasn't a used car. The Brandon Carr, I mean, if you look back, he didn't play terrible, right? But the way you guys gave him $50 million at the time, and the media, how they pumped up thing, it really scarred the Cowboys from making any other big moves. But this game, in order to stay in the fight, you got to learn to shake that off and continue to try to will and deal. Whether it be from trades, whether it be picking up the phone and calling someone saying, hey, we really like for you to come in. And you can't be scared of picking up the phone and calling a veteran and then using your past experience from a deal that didn't go through as it is going to be your current experience. People hit me up saying, Law, the Gerald McCoy situation. Don't you think that hurt the Cowboys? That's the reason why they shouldn't go after Sue, or that should be the reason why they shouldn't go after Sheldon Richardson at least, or Anthony Barr, because of the Gerald McCoy situation, right? No, you still look at it and say, man, we still afloat. We sitting on 22 to 20, close to $23 million. We got to will and deal ourselves into this thing, because what can happen here, Cowboys looking back at everything and trying to be safe, can fool around and hurt themselves in the long run. Because here's my case with this, before someone say, well, no, Law, it is what it is, Law. You know, we like the youth. They're going to be ready next time they in the playoff or what have you. Next time it's not guaranteed. The season is always a crazy one, right? But it hit me. Don't you guys know that last year in the playoff, you're talking about playoffs, that if you had a veteran guy that been in the playoff before, that really earned some battle scars in the playoff, then they could have leaned and gravitated to that person. And I ain't talking about just one playoff win. I'm talking about a guy that won multiple playoff games and been to the Super Bowl. They could have leaned on that person and say, okay, let's listen to what he have to say, so that there would not be a nervous bone in the bodies of these players, because they can understand the gravity that they are in the playoff game and that every play counts. That comes from leadership, and of course that comes from experience. None of you guys been in my house that's watching right now. You can't tell me about this house because you don't have the experience of this house. But if you've been here for multiple times, and if you knew everything that I know now, then you can tell the newcomers where to go at, where the restroom is at, where the kitchen is at, where upstairs bathroom is at, as well as where the playroom, etc. You would know those things because you got the experience. What the Cowboys are banking on is somebody leading this team to the playoffs who never really been there before, with a lot of experience, to know where everything is at, or to figure it out the first time around, which would be uncommon, basically. Nevertheless, this will be a bittersweet situation because these guys now got some experience from last year. They know for sure that they can't have 14 penalties. They know for sure they can't start off slow, and they should know for sure that when you are in the striking zone, you got to score. You got to score. You got to figure it out. And of course, clock management, that they can't go for a quarterback sneak or pretty much a quarterback run on, midway in the field. But that's the story of a different day. I just want to be able to tell you guys that the wide receiver market now is busted wide open. Amari Cooper deal now looks like dog food, right? Oh, and then the CD Lamb, whatever he do for the 2022 season, you better jump on it to pay the man afterwards, because if not, that thing is going to jump up to 26 to 29 APY, and you back in the same wheelhouse that you was with D-Law, right? Or with Dak Prescott, right? Let's figure this out, Cowboy Nation. And of course, we'll figure out what Dalton Schultz is going to do when training camp come around. Remember, July the 15th is the deadline, or whether or not he get that long-term deal. That's things that we have to really pay close attention to on that one too. Well, we'll find out, Cowboy Nation. Let me know. Should the Cowboys fold and go ahead and pay Dalton Schultz that long-term contract, right? This is what we arguing about, right? Because if you go back and franchise tag him again next year, it will be nothing but crazy stuff with that. What they should have done, and I'm going to say this again, they should have went on ahead and paid Dalton Schultz. If they figured out a way that they like him, went on ahead and pay him, and didn't even have to put the franchise tag on him. And maybe, just maybe, based upon everything else, it would have been lower than what the franchise tag cost you, and also lower than him resetting the market. You could have really did that, because I don't think that a team would have looked at Dalton Schultz and said, okay, they're going to pay him more than Travis Kelce. They're going to pay him more than Mark Andrews, right? But when you franchise tag him, now that price of that bag went up to being more than Travis Kelce and, of course, Mark Andrews. You see how this thing goes, Cowboy Nation. So that's just my thoughts on it, Cowboys. Let's continue to find ways to grind, and that's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Go Cowboys. That's crazy, man. That wide receiver market is banana crazy, baby. It's crazy, baby. And appreciate those who donated. Don't forget, your name will be entered in to win this beautiful hat. I can't wait, because this camo Cowboys time. I can't wait to see the soldiers out there. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best.